Eligibility, enrollment, and member portals represent the public face of payer infrastructure. These systems handle sensitive credentials, demographic details, and financial information, often accessed by members outside the corporate network. Web application security becomes a frontline defense. Multi-factor authentication, session timeouts, and secure coding practices all play critical roles. Portals must balance usability with strong protection. For example, self-service password reset features must verify identity without revealing confidential data. R2 emphasizes rigorous testing, vulnerability scanning, and monitoring of these systems to confirm that member access is both convenient and secure. A breach here undermines not just privacy, but also customer confidence in the payer's ability to manage trust. Data sharing across providers, brokers, and partners is constant and intricate. Claims, eligibility updates, and remittance advice move through multiple interfaces and clearinghouses. Each handoff introduces potential vulnerability. Secure file transfer, encryption, and transaction validation guard against tampering and interception. R2 requires mapping these flows end-to-end to confirm all routes are known, documented, and controlled. For example, when a broker uploads group enrollment data through a secure portal, the integration must log file receipt, checksum verification, and import success. Transparency in data exchange reinforces trust across the payer network, proving that information can move freely but safely through every link of the chain. Access management in payer environments spans both internal users and external stakeholders. Employees, contractors, and business partners may all interact with sensitive claims systems. Strong role-based access ensures each user receives only what is needed for their job. External brokers and providers often require federated authentication to connect securely without duplicating credentials. For instance, using single sign-on through trusted identity providers allows seamless collaboration while maintaining control. Session monitoring, periodic access reviews, and prompt revocation for job changes sustain discipline. The R2 approach turns access from an administrative task into a verifiable control, ensuring accountability for every digital doorway into member data. Fraud, waste, and abuse monitoring adds a unique dimension to payer security. These programs analyze claims data to detect irregularities, such as duplicate submissions, phantom billing, or unusual treatment patterns. Machine learning tools may flag outliers for human review, blending analytics with investigative expertise. Security controls protect these sensitive detection systems from manipulation or data leaks. For example, restricting who can modify fraud detection rules prevents tampering by insiders. Documentation of rule sets, thresholds, and review frequency demonstrates governance maturity. In R2, anti-fraud capabilities are not separate from cybersecurity. They are part of the same mission, protecting patient trust and financial integrity. Privacy risks in claims processing arise when large data sets move between administrative, analytical, and archival environments. Aggregation increases the temptation to use real data for testing or training, exposing PHI unintentionally. R2 controls stress data minimization, anonymization, and masking for non-production uses. For instance, creating synthetic test data instead of copying live claims reduces breach risk. Privacy impact assessments ensure that each new processing activity considers exposure and mitigation before implementation. By embedding privacy into workflows, payers prove that compliance is not reactive but built into every system that handles member information. Logging requirements for financial systems go beyond standard audit trails. They must capture transactions, approvals, edits, and system-generated decisions with timestamps synchronized to an authoritative clock. For example, if a claim payment is reversed, logs should show the initiator, reason code, and approval chain. These records support internal controls for financial integrity and regulatory compliance. Under R2, logging depth becomes measurable evidence of accountability. Secure retention policies ensure logs are preserved for mandated periods without unauthorized alteration. Detailed, immutable logs give auditors confidence that system behavior is both observable and traceable, a hallmark of robust governance. Vendor oversight for clearinghouses represents one of the most visible assurance interfaces in payer operations. Clearinghouses translate and route claim data between providers, payers, and intermediaries, making them essential yet risky points of exchange. R2 requires due diligence confirming that these vendors maintain security certifications, enforce encryption, and follow prompt breach notification procedures. Oversight includes periodic audits, contractual attestations, and performance reviews. For example, verifying that a clearinghouse enforces transport layer security for all transactions proves end-to-end encryption. Effective oversight protects both compliance posture and brand reputation, ensuring that the payer's trust commitments extend seamlessly to its critical intermediaries. Regulatory drivers and contractual clauses shape every payer's assurance landscape. HIPAA's security and privacy rules, state insurance laws, and emerging consumer protection standards all apply simultaneously. Contracts with employers and partners often include specific security obligations or reporting timelines. R2's harmonized structure simplifies compliance by aligning overlapping requirements into a single control set. For instance, encryption and breach notification clauses in contracts map directly to corresponding R2 controls, reducing redundancy. Maintaining a clear inventory of obligations helps payers demonstrate how legal, contractual, and framework expectations integrate. This alignment prevents gaps and supports consistent messaging during audits or regulatory inquiries. Incident scenarios in payer environments often involve data leakage, unauthorized access, or fraud discovery. R2 requires defined playbooks with timing aligned to regulatory notification clocks. For example, HIPAA allows up to 60 days for affected party notification, but internal policy may mandate shorter internal reporting. Coordination among privacy, legal, and communications teams ensures that notification occurs accurately and lawfully. Evidence of prior incident drills or post-event reviews demonstrates readiness. The speed and transparency of response define reputation as much as the incident itself. In this domain, every minute counts, and structured governance ensures that compliance and empathy coexist under pressure. Evidence sources for payers typically combine operational logs, audit trails, risk assessments, and vendor certifications. Examples include system access reports, claims processing logs, vendor attestations, and incident tracking summaries. Data flow diagrams, policy acknowledgments, and fraud detection metrics also serve as proof of control operation. Well-organized repositories allow quick retrieval during R2 assessments. For instance, being able to produce the last 3 fraud monitoring reports within minutes signals strong evidence hygiene. Maintaining centralized evidence management systems converts complex documentation into a strategic asset, reflecting both transparency and efficiency. A scalable, auditable payer control environment embodies the R2 philosophy: structured, measurable, and responsive to change. Payers and third-party administrators operate at vast scale, but assurance remains personal. Every claim represents a person's health story. By aligning operations with R2's maturity model, payers demonstrate that trust can scale without compromise. Each control, from encryption to vendor oversight, forms part of a larger ecosystem of accountability. In the end, true maturity lies not in passing an audit, but in maintaining transparency, resilience, and fairness across every transaction. The R2 framework turns payer compliance into a living system of integrity that supports both organizational success and member trust.